Thank you very much, and welcome on stage to my co-panelists. It's great to have you here today. We've been hearing a lot about AI in the past few sessions, and I think that was really helpful to set the scene. I want to rewind a little bit, and I'm sure a lot of you in the room will understand where I'm coming from, but I'm taking you back 18 years ago. I'm an intern at Accor, so I haven't changed company in 18 years. But what happened 18 years ago? There is no AI. There is very little loyalty. Actually, it's the year Accor launched their loyalty program for the first time, so loyalty is almost nothing. There is fax. I'm receiving fax for hotel to participate to Booking.com and Expedia contract. It's the beginning of connectivity. So just to set things back into perspective, and fast forward now, a lot has happened, obviously. But now we're going to talk a bit more about AI and pricing. The one thing that is common is the pricing. Pricing challenge, pricing issue, pricing disparity was already there 18 years ago. So that's just setting the scene. And I think, Basak, you're going to tell us a bit about your experience and the research you have done and some of the fun or not so fun facts you have discovered.
Thank you, Charline. So I have been teaching revenue management for the past 20 years across North America, Europe, Asia, and currently in Australia. And for the past 20 years, I give the same assignment to my undergrad students. So each one of them are assigned a hotel anywhere in the world. They are mostly full-service hotels, can be branded, unbranded, independent, part of a chain or not. And their task is to analyze pricing strategy of this hotel. So they first go to hotel's website and they look at room types. They look at rate categories for each room type. They look at terms and conditions. They look at packages. So they try to make sense out of this. You know, what is the price value proposition of this hotel? And then how they communicate this to their customers. So when students start doing this assessment, in some cases, they are faced with more than 100 combinations of these things. You know, when they list, you have so many different room types, tons of terms and conditions, it becomes overwhelming, it becomes confusing. So from a revenue management perspective, this is understandable because we have different product types, right? We have different room types. And for the same room, we have multiple prices, and we have to differentiate the value of those prices through rate restrictions. And then we have packages for different type of customers too. So from back-end decision-making perspective, this all makes sense. So my students are studying hotel management. They are taking a revenue management class, and they cannot make sense of what hotel is doing on the website. And then they come to me, they say, okay, professor, I cannot get through this. Can I go to OTA website and look from OTA's perspective? So they go to OTA website, and this time there is much less information, less combinations of these things. It is much more structured. It is easier to understand. So they are like, okay, maybe now I get it. And also now we have AI. So now they surpass OTA, they straight go to AI, and they compare what they find with what AI finds. And very good students do all these three things. And they come to me and they say, professor, I found this, through OTA I found this, through AI I found this, and they're all different. So even a student studying this degree cannot understand the price and value sort of, proposition of this hotel. And what surprises me most is that this has been going on for 20 years. And in 20 years, we would expect things to change, right? Things to improve. But from hundreds, thousands of assessments that I grade year on year, I don't see it changing much.
So I think the starting point of that conversation is that for now, we haven't seen AI improving the challenge that we've been facing for the past 20 years. So if we take that as the starting point, I'm going to open the floor and the question to the rest of the panel. But if we look at what are we optimizing for with AI, what are the things we're optimizing for? We touch base on OTA, we touch base, I think, on meta search this morning, the AI channel itself. So we're optimizing for different things. So if I come to you, maybe Tej, to kick it off, this system, they read the pricing, right? They read all of the pricing that are available there. Do they read this pricing and this consistency the same way or differently?
So I think before we talk about AI and how AI reads it, it's important to understand your base infrastructure and how important it is to sort of reduce the noise, right? So let's say we are in a world where every one of us has a AI agent, and all suppliers are also have their own agents, right? And then there will be a agent-to-agent protocol where your agent will need to talk to the supplier agent, and that's what Amy was talking about, the MCP layer. So MCP is basically a context layer where your agent or two agents talk to each other and they understand the availability. So what does AI need in that case, right? My background is in revenue management, so I understand that world, your world a little bit as well. So I remember when we used to do revenue management, we used to do obviously pricing. We also used to do policies. We used to attach different policies to different pricing. It may be advance purchase, 3 days advance has X pricing, 7 days advance has X pricing. So when AI is reading your data, every layer you add to a policy, example for the policy, will become like a gate. So you also touched upon in your research, Basak, the merchandising, right? So a lot of the work that we do at OTAs is in personalizing that merchandising, showing every person the right selection so that the optimized conversion happens on the platform. The worst thing for consumers actually is too much choice. Too much choice always kills conversion. So in this case, when you attach a policy to a pricing, the AI reads it as a gate. So example, I know some hotels that have a 24-hour cancellation policy, 6 p.m. cancellation policy, for some reason 8 p.m. cancellation policy. And what will happen is AI will simply not service, if it doesn't make sense at that layer, it will not service you as a choice. Because part of the role of your agent will be to reduce the choices to the optimal and for the optimal conversion. So I think that cleanup is needed and making sure that the data layer is very relevant.
So complexity will basically prevent you to even make it to the consideration stage.
Complexity without clear logic. So example, if you have a $100 rate with 6 p.m. cancellation policy, and you have a $105 rate with 8 p.m. cancellation policy, it won't make sense. Or AI may not attach the right value to it.
Okay. And maybe if we move a bit down the funnel, and we move to the consideration stage, and Mayu, I'm looking at you now. But we've been talking about pricing strategy this morning. We've been talking about member rate. We've been talking about discount for specific user group. Is there still room for tactical price, differentiation across channel in an AI-driven world?
Yes, I mean, look, in my view, AI rewards logical consistency, right? I think that's really a key here. There is room for closed user group offers, right? There is room for the member rates, geo-targeted offers, and all these different price points which we have. What doesn't work with us or for a lot of hotels is having those inconsistent pricing out there. So one part of your ecosystem is positioning yourself as a premium and offering exclusive products, whereas the other one is not following that pricing discipline, and there's deep discounting which is going on. And that really erodes trust. Pricing is not a transactional mechanism. It's really how we are delivering or conveying trust, the experience for a customer. So by having these inconsistent signals, and that's something which Amy referred to as well, it's about the signals which these algorithms are reading through, and that's what will be detrimental when it comes to visibility as well. Coming from a casino integrated environment as well, I think that's the lens which AI really accelerates in the future, because in that world, when it comes to customer lifetime value, you talk about pricing, marketing, it's very interconnected. as one signal. And I think, in my view, that's what will change in the future.
That's very interesting. I think, Basak, you wanted to maybe comment on that as well. And for me, I think the question is, what is the fine line between your revenue management and potentially damaging your visibility?
I think we need to look at this price-value relationship more coherently across all distribution channels. I think the presentation this morning by Amy, she was saying the same thing. So you are disseminating your rooms through all these distribution channels. People talk about your hotel. When all of these things come together, is there a coherent, consistent story? Can AI trust what you are saying across these channels when they gather information about you? Because if the information and data coming from different channels is either inconsistent or if it doesn't make sense, this is going to lower the confidence of AI. And they call this, noise. It will create noise, and higher the noise, lower the confidence, and then it is not going to put your hotel in its recommendation set, right? And that will impact your visibility. So I think it is not a matter of just your pricing, also it is your price communication, and also it is through all your representations over the internet.
That's very interesting, because if you look back at what we've been experiencing over the years, we already had that issue with the guest not trusting the hotel, the guest not trusting the brand because they couldn't find this consistency. So it's taking that to another level. Maybe a bit of debatable question, but when it comes to price consistency or parity, there is always the OTA, or at least that's the reputation, playing with your rate or control that you don't have on the pricing. So I'm going to open that question. Is that still a problem today? Is there ways to control that better? And is that important in an AI-driven world?
Should I?
Go for it.
No problem at all. So definitely, I think it all stems from the kind of distribution strategy obviously you have, right? In the context of, let's say, what is going to happen in the future, I think it's super, it'll sort of become easier for hotels who have, as Mayuresh mentioned, the right pricing and distribution discipline. So the discipline will be rewarded, and the inconsistencies may cause noise and may not feature you in the right list. I think from an OTA point of view, the hotels that do extremely well with us are balanced hotels who have the right discipline, who have rate parity, and who can understand the kind of customer segmentation particular OTAs can get for you. So all OTAs have their strengths, all distribution channels have their strengths, and I think hotels that understand that strength and can basically use or work with OTAs to capitalize on their strength work best. And this is continuing in the future. So when AI comes in and AI is making a selection for you, there will also be, like you mentioned, a trust component. So a lot of work that we do is around building that trust as well. And it's not only through the reviews that hotels earn on our platform or on other platforms, right? There's also a delivery of a promise that when you book a particular rate type on a platform, you get what you have paid for and what was immediately clearly communicated to you. So those things will bring up the trust when the AI is searching for those particular listings. And when they are inconsistency, it'll bring down the trust. So imagine if the AI agent has to you prompt the agent that I want to travel to Bangkok tomorrow, send me 5 choices only. Now it's the agent's choice to understand the context of who you are or your previous searches and deliver those 5 choices to you. In this scenario, it may search Traveloka, it may search Expedia, Agoda, direct brand, Accor or Marriott, and understanding the context of who you are delivers those 5 choices. Now, who will the first person be excluded? It'll be the person who didn't deliver that prime promise. Any inconsistency in rate, unnecessary fences, which don't add value, these will be all pulled out. Trust, low review scores, unclear promises. So if that AI agent is efficient and understands your context, these things will be filtered out ASAP. And then you get a high trust scenario, because in the end, the AI will also be rewarded that you select that choices, and they will understand that why you selected that choices. You selected all.com because you may get your loyalty points, and you like that particular brand, and maybe
You
your
will learn
kids.
from that.
So it will learn from that. And
So basically, for those of you in the room who have been working on your price consistency, on your content for the past 10, 15, 20 years, you have not done that for nothing. Everything you have done is basically building the ground of how you're going to get choose tomorrow. And go ahead, Mayu.
At the point on visibility as well, right? Because traditionally or historically, it's been seen as a search problem or a media problem. But really now it's about the signal interpretation, right? But that's sort of the shift which we have to make as well on how we look at visibility, especially when there are contradictory pricing strategies in place. And how do we deal with that? And the second part of the comment is about your question on, yes, what I completely agree with what Tej said earlier, but there's a lot of organizational fragmentation as well, which occurs, right? I think the earlier speaker alluded towards that as well. But that's common, quite common challenge for a lot of hotels as well, where the silos do exist. So AI doesn't look at it as as different teams or different messages, right? So that commercial alignment needs to be driven as well in order to come up with that discipline.
Internally, it's going to show externally. Everything you do in-house is going to show now, even more. Okay, interesting. If we continue to go maybe a bit further down the funnel and we start looking at conversion, but on the personalization side of things, do you think, an open question for all of you, that today OTA potentially have a competitive advantage when it comes to AI because of the personalization tool they've been putting in place from a technology perspective in the past few years? And second question linked to that, is there still space for member rates, loyalty program in an AI-driven world? You want to start, Basak?
Sure. I think OTAs have always been easier to use from a user perspective. They are just built for comparison. And you don't have so many different combinations available, right? So you mentioned choice overload. Along with information overload, this is valid. So from large language models perspective, so there are multiple of them and their algorithms are different, but they are all large language models. So they don't mind actually reading everything. So maybe for them, it is not the choice overload that is the problem, but it is the coherence, right? It is price value coherence. Is it logical? And just the presentation before us, ideas told you also the room type that is overbooked all the time is your most basic room type, and then you end up upgrading people. If you cannot upsell those better category rooms, then do you really need to have that many room categories? What type of noise is that creating, right? Or sometimes we look at things like room type names. Some room type names are so confusing, and they are different in different platforms. And imagine, AI going through and reading all of this. So I think for all these reasons, OTAs, due to the purpose that they were built for, they are much easier to navigate and be read by machines, I think, compared to hotels. And just one last thing, HTML is back. I'm not a technology expert, but I learned that large language models do not like things hidden behind JavaScript. They actually like old HTML type of text, and they read that much better.
Interesting, thank you.
Just a comment as well about pricing and consistency, right? Because that really directly impacts the algorithmic visibility and ranking, right? Obviously, the integrity, it protects more than just conversion, right? Because it's not a game of conversion anymore. It's really a game of where, how do you protect that brand equity as well, right? So that's where the consistency and discipline, what I mentioned earlier, I think I'd like to reinstate that point is important as we move forward.
Thank you. Tej, anything to add from an OTA tech perspective on, is there an advantage there based on all of the tech that have been developed over the years?
There are 2 points. One is that the kind of data that OTAs have, right? So we have obviously top funnel data, demand data. We also service the flights. And then a lot of work we do with AI is on merchandising. So if someone buys a flight into Singapore from Jakarta, example, we will understand what kind of personalization works for that person. And then we can merchandise the right hotel. By the class of flight he booked, we can understand what kind of paying capacity he will have. A lot of work that we will do is to improve the attach rates of the booking. So by attach rates, I mean that people who book flights, they attach and book hotels, and they attach and book attractions. So, example, in Bangkok, someone who's staying by the riverside, we will try to attach a dinner cruise or something that is relevant. So, that is basically our interpretation of how we want to personalize to the customer and make sure that he has a seamless experience on the platform. So the data helps. We use that data to already personalize to a very high extent, and that experience for merchandising comes. But of course, when I talk about hotels, you have the loyalty data, right? So you understand lifetime value extremely well. And hotels can actually, the better hotels will cater to that lifetime value, understand their loyal customers, and make sure that experience is provided even on their platform. So I think these are sort of advantages that experience and delivery of that experience in different platforms have. And when the time comes for using that protocol to deliver the right search results, I think that will definitely be an advantage.
Very interesting, thank you. Maybe one last question before we start looking at future and start wrapping up. But if we do a quick reality check based on everything we just said and all of your experience, and we be honest, let's be honest, what is really actually today preventing a clean pricing strategy? Is it tech? Is it internal? Is it strategy itself? What is preventing a clean pricing strategy? I'm trying to get you to resolve the most obvious problem in the hotel industry.
I think lots of things, yeah. So I'm from my revenue management and distribution previously in hotels hat. I think it's important to understand what your customers actually value, right? So you spoke about room type. My favorite room type is deluxe partial view. So when I go to a hotel and I accidentally book a partial view.
All of this one.
Yes. I actually try to figure out where the view is. So, and of it there's no view. Right? So understanding that when you say something like that and you create a room type like that, you are also promising the customer something. And then the distribution is already complex, right? Your partial view is interpreted differently in different platforms. And in the future, that'll just bring the trust down. And trust is going to be a super high feature. I think it will rank very high when AI protocols are developed further, because that is a real currency, right? So what is the promise of a deluxe partial view is something that the hotels have to decide. And then how they need to clean up. Simplicity is elegant. Elegance is good. Over time, the distribution systems can talk to each other. Different OTAs have different mapping protocols. By mapping, I mean is when you send a data through channel manager, we may not map exactly what you mean. So understanding what your distribution is, how your revenue management actually executes. So while revenue managers may have, like, they have very clear logic, right? This is what I actually want. And I want minimum length of stay 3, because usually people come to my hotel for 2 nights, and my GM has told me to increase revenue. So I'll put a minimum length of stay 3. Now the logic is great. How that delivers onto your distribution is very, very different. And how are you actually capturing a new market segment by doing that is also very different. So understanding the, I think firstly the cleanup is required. So if you have partial view hotels, please don't. And then once you do that, understand the impact of your overall marketing and distribution strategy. I think revenue managers, marketing managers who work together, they understand it very well. And once these data are clean, you'll be ready for future protocols as well.
And
Mayu.
just to add to that, like differentiation as well, not for the sake of it, right? It really needs to be intentional and coherent, because pricing as a lever, really having inconsistencies there, it's not just a transactional mechanism, right? It's really your brand language, right? So you're eroding that trust. Through pricing, we communicate, what experience you can deliver to the guests as well. So when having an overly, not having a pricing discipline really will be detrimental, and that will eventually erode the trust and the brand confidence as well, and then eventually your visibility.
So no partial sea view, clean pricing. Basak?
I think as an industry, we need to stop being so short-sighted. Everything is very short-sighted, short-term return. My GM is here now, gone tomorrow, owner's rep, person changes, and it's all like we are trying to satisfy these people. It is always same old, same old. We have these room categories for years, the same terms and conditions, everybody copies each other. Can we just start changing finally? And perhaps listen to Heidi this morning, what she said. I think we need to be out of this place where we are stuck for years.
So change, okay. So quick fire chat, just agree or disagree. I'm gonna go through all of you. First one is rate parity is dead. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
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 Perfect, so rate parity is still very much alive. Next one, direct booking strategy is overrated in an AI discovery world.
Disagree, surprisingly.
Disagree on that one.
Disagree.
Okay, so everyone is aligned, meaning web direct is still very much alive and important. Next one, would you sacrifice short-term revenue for long-term algorithm trust?
No.
But you were saying change.
Yes, so stop being short-sighted. That's the change. Trust is difficult to build, easy to break.
I would agree with that. Short time, the trust becomes strategically important, so short-term gains should be considered.
If you can convince your GM, sure.
Or your owner. Okay, last one. Hotel may need to sacrifice some pricing sophistication to remain AI viable. Your length of stay, I'm talking, or...
Yeah, so context. I think if it adds value and you have a clear target segmentation, 100% go ahead. But if it is built and you've forgotten to remove it, please remove it.
Agree on that one.
Agree also.
So you don't have to sacrifice it, but you need to make sure it adds value. Thank you very much. I'm just going to move to the key takeaway. Okay. I think all of us participated to the key takeaway that came through the discussion, but do you want to maybe highlight yours?
Okay, so I think if I were you, what I would do, if you haven't already done so, take a look at these large language models in the markets that your customers are in and audit your hotel. Ask your hotel, hotel website, what it looks like, is it readable, what does AI ask you to change, and do it also through all representations of your hotel. Audit your hotel from a visibility perspective.
Thank you. Mayu?
So for me, it's really about commercial alignment, right? So point number 5 really highlights that. So that's really critical when it comes to how we move forward between and breaking those silos. Importantly as well is about the pricing discipline, because that's really, again, it's not about conversion. It's really about your brand story, your brand promise, and protecting your brand equity in the long term, right? So the short term, those hard conversations, like again, getting a GM or the owners to agree on the short term discounting or the tactical, that needs to happen, that needs to be surfaced in order to protect that visibility in the future and getting that trust.
Tej?
I think firstly, deeply understand what market segments that you want to attract, right? So after you do that, understand what your rate availability is, how you're building trust, what your connectivity protocols are. And once you do that, and like I said, if you need to remove some fences, remove. If you need to add, and they're adding value, please add. I think these are cleanups and a wider, like a commercially aligned strategy between marketing, your segmentation, your revenue management, which will help all protocols that will come in the future. So audit your content, definitely, but audit your connectivity. Make sure that you are ready for the future. And the most important asset will be trust. So if you're promising something and you're delivering that across platforms, that's how you build trust. And of course, your quality service and review scores help as well. So for me, the main takeaway would be building trust.
Thank you very much, everyone. That was super interesting. I hope it was for everyone in the room as well. We have 1 or 2 minutes left, so if there is any question, we would be happy to take those. Otherwise, we will give the minutes back.
Yeah, guys, great panel. One question that you didn't ask is, how does this change the relationship between OTAs and direct booking? It will, won't it?
From a guest perspective or from the relationship?
Commercial perspective, how will you guys interact differently in future than you've done over the last 20 years?
So that's a very good question. I think as of today, and I'm talking for at Accor, we're not looking at reviewing our commercial strategy and commercial relationship with the OTA just yet. However, what we're looking at is reviewing how do we talk to the guests and will we talk to guests tomorrow. Because if you look 10 years ahead, not just 2 years ahead, there might not even be website anymore, right? So it might not even be your website versus the OTA website. I think we're going back to what Tej was saying, it's agent to agent. From my perspective, there will still be a commission involved. Who is going to get that commission and how the commission is going to be split? Am I going to give everything to Traveloka tomorrow, or am I going to split between, OpenAI and Traveloka for the same booking? For me, that's the question. Yeah, that's true. But the direct relationship with the guest and who do you reward for that booking is what's going to change, from my perspective.
In the short run as well, it's also, like the way we're seeing it is also partnering with some of those OTAs, right? Because OTAs, some of them, especially, I can give you an example of C-Trip with Shaongshu, right? There's a lot of work being done over there as well. So how do we leverage that? And eventually, as a brand, it's not about being visible everywhere. It's about being there in the right context. So yes, that relationship will mature and change in the future. But in the short run, as things are evolving, it's really partnering with the OTAs to get that visibility over there, and then it's appearing in the right context for the right customer.
I think you answered it well. So.
One more? We have 23 seconds left, apparently.
Yeah, it was sort of touched on a little bit, but I'm one of my consultants is working on a website rebuild for a boutique hotel, and it's got like the really cool guest flow with some videos and images, bringing in some social stuff from some of the influencers that they work with. At what point would I just consider working with that hotel and building like a text-based website that has all this information? It's consistent, easy for AI to pick up on. At like what point maybe would I have two websites or one to just make sure that this hotel is appearing in any AI inquiries?
Look, we've been doing a few experiments I can share briefly on we just went through a whole brand website redesign in Q4 of last year. Working with some of our media partners or marketing agencies as well, what surfaced actually is what converting well, or where we're getting the highest ROAS, is actually content which is video-driven, experience-driven, and so on, and not really, we used to be quite text-heavy, let's say before Q4 of last year. So with the introduction of the videos, images, and experiences, we're seeing a shift in ROAS. So actually, contrary to the fact about just being text-based, these AI tools are able to read through the videos and content as well. So that's a shift we've seen.
And I think just also ask yourself from customer perspective, what do you do when you book your hotel, right? You might use AI, I do today, but I'm still going to check the content. And the content for me is still on the website today. Tomorrow, is there going to be something that replaces a website and you're going to be able to see the content directly into the agent tool? Maybe that's the question.
No, I think it's very relevant, the work you're doing around the website. I think it's great. Human beings will continue to need that. I think the hotel experience starts with the website as well. So you need those videos coming through and understanding the experience. So if you're booking a villa in Maldives, example, and your agent recommends a particular villa, you are going to open the website and check whether the slide is landing into the water or whatever, and is it on the water, or how experiential is it, how far is it. So I think the second thing is we don't know when this agent-to-agent protocol will come, and the third thing is even if it comes, there will be multiple segments who won't be on it. And they will continue to use your websites. And even if they are on it, there'll be some validation required, right? So I think a great content is always a wonderful discovery funnel, whether it's on social media or on your website.
Thank you very much. That's it for us for today.